In virtually every area of tech, China is on the move. At sea, in the air, in space, and in cyberspace. Beijing is determined to own the future through innovation, and by reducing its dependence on foreign technology. It has steadily charted a course that could see it match or even surpass its geopolitical rivals within the next few decades. And all of it is sounding alarm bells in the West. Welcome to Technality. Today we're exploring several areas where China is playing the long game and might just win. This is China's largest ever and most advanced aircraft carrier, and it is a physical representation of the country's ambitions at sea. China's leader, Xi Jinping, has vowed to build his military into a great wall of steel and doubled down on his pledge to reunify Taiwan with mainland China. With tensions running high, both China and the West, which backs Taiwan, are vying for the technological edge in the event of an actual conflict, and projecting dominance in the region requires a blue water navy worth its salt. Enter the Fujian. First launched in 2022, it began its first sea testing in May of this year. With a weight of over 80,000 tons and the capacity to hold 60 to 70 fifth-generation fighter aircraft, the Fujian sets a new standard for China's growing navy. The new aircraft carrier is also equipped with technology previously only available to the US Navy. Based on electric vehicle technology, its electromagnetic aircraft launch system, or EMALS, can fire a plane into the sky in just over 2 seconds. Other high-tech features on board include advanced arresting gear, or AAG, that essentially catches a landing plane on arrival and quickly brings it to a full stop. Altogether, the Fujian represents a high watermark in China's naval engineering and a symbol of its determination to achieve maritime supremacy in a highly contested neighborhood. To understand where that determination comes from, you just have to look at a map. China claims most of the South China Sea, an area known as the Nine-Dash Line. This massive piece of maritime real estate clashes with the territorial claims of Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and of course Taiwan. Then there's the entire world economy, which relies on shipping, by far the cheapest way to get goods from one end of the globe to the other, and a massive amount of goods are currently floating on the South China Sea. Western nations have sent aircraft carriers, warships, and fighter jets of their own to ensure freedom of navigation and prevent pirate attacks. Not a welcome sight from China's perspective. The United States alone has 11 aircraft carriers and 9 aircraft-carrying amphibious assault ships. China is hoping to level the playing field. It now has 3 aircraft carriers, including the Fujian, and is on track to own 5 or 6 in the next decade. How it uses Fujian to project power in the short term remains to be seen, but there's little doubt that with its aggressive ambitions at sea, China is taking the long view. Will China win the so-called space race within the next few decades? The country's space program is moving ahead at breakneck speed, fast enough that NASA is openly worried about it. And the near-term concern is on the moon. Since 2007, China's Chang'e missions have closed the gap with the United States and Russia in lunar exploration, and now it's getting ready to embark on a groundbreaking mission to the moon's far side. Chang'e 6, launched in the spring of 2024, aims to collect samples there, a first in history. With no direct Earth communication, the 53-day mission relies on a relay satellite orbiting the moon. Chang'e 6 will attempt to land on the northeastern side of the South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the oldest known impact craters in the solar system. Scientists have described the South Pole as the golden belt for lunar exploration because of the potential for using polar ice found there. Water ice is an important source of hydrogen and oxygen, which could be used to make breathable oxygen, rocket fuel, or drinking water, and ultimately power future exploration and prolonged missions. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson is not mincing words about what that could mean. He recently claimed that China could attempt a lunar land grab similar to its claims over the South China Sea here on Earth. NASA spearheaded the establishment of the Artemis Accords, a framework of principles and guidelines for the peaceful exploration of celestial bodies, starting with the moon. Although the Accords have garnered voluntary support from 38 nations, China is notably absent. the country has also rapidly established a permanent presence in Earth's lower orbit. Tiangong, which translates to Heavenly Palace, is China's answer to the International Space Station. The ISS is set to be retired in 2030, and while NASA will help fund and share expertise to build a new space station, it will ultimately be owned by a private company. In contrast, China's fully state-owned Tiangong, launched a mere 3 years ago, is just getting started. It's a clear demonstration that China's celestial ambitions are here to stay. You were looking at what China's leader Xi Jinping calls the dream of a nation. Keen observers of the aviation industry will know it as the COMAC C919, and it symbolizes China's determination to achieve self-reliance in every aspect of advanced technology. This domestically made narrow-bodied passenger plane was designed to compete with two popular rivals, the Airbus A320 and Boeing 737 families. Together, those two Western corporations control about 90% of the global aircraft market. With growing demand from airlines and Boeing's recent safety issues, most notably involving their 737 MAX, China is determined to offer an alternative and ultimately smash the Airbus-Boeing duopoly. This year, Air China confirmed an order for 100 C919s in a deal worth more than $10 billion. That follows an order last year for another 100 planes from China Eastern Airlines. And COMAC is poised to capitalize on China's growing demand for passenger jets. But there's no shortage of turbulence ahead for the C919. Despite being assembled in China, it relies on parts made elsewhere. The goal one day is for the C919 to be entirely made of Chinese components. But until then, COMAC is subject to the same supply chain problems of its rivals. The US also named COMAC as a company owned and controlled by the People's Liberation Army, and that means any American company or individual is prohibited from investing in it. The C919 also lacks certifications from aviation regulators in the US and Europe, but it may yet become a regional player and give Boeing and Airbus a run for their money in Asia. There's little doubt China faces a number of major obstacles to becoming the global superpower of its leaders' dreams. But an aging population, rising debt, and punitive US sanctions today belie a deliberate long-term innovation strategy for tomorrow. Unlike Western democracies, China has shown a willingness to gain the upper hand through single-minded, top-down, government-led determination. If all goes according to plan, the very future of humanity is China's to lose. What do you think? Let us know and keep watching Technality for all things future, tech, and humanity.